The 1970s were a wild time for food, full of color, creativity, and comfort. Some dishes became legends, but so many incredible recipes have slipped from our memories. These are the forgotten casseroles and Southern classics your grandma made. Get ready to remember, to rediscover, and maybe even to call your grandma or wish you could. In American kitchens, especially in the 70s, dinner was often shaped by what was practical, affordable, and comforting. Meals needed to stretch, satisfy, and come together with little fuss. Chicken in a biscuit casserole fit the bill perfectly. At its core, this dish was straightforward. Shredded chicken tucked into a creamy, savory sauce, all topped with golden, flaky biscuit dough. While its exact origins are hard to trace, the dish's roots are deeply Southern, with biscuit-based casseroles thought to have originated in the early 1900s. But its widespread popularity as an American comfort food is a mid to late 20th century phenomenon. Chicken in a biscuit casserole grew in popularity as canned soups and refrigerated biscuit dough became kitchen staples. With convenience reigning supreme and electric ovens now common in most homes, baking casseroles became an everyday ritual. This dish, with its hearty filling and buttery biscuit crown, soon found a regular spot on dinner tables nationwide. Biscuits had long been a fixture in rural American cooking, and pairing them with a protein-rich filling was a natural evolution. Today, you might see updated versions, homemade roux-based sauces instead of canned soup, or whole wheat biscuits for a healthier twist. But the heart of the dish remains simple, satisfying, and steeped in comfort. Tuna Noodle Casserole. In the American home, few dishes embodied the spirit of resourcefulness and comfort quite like tuna noodle casserole. Born from the need to feed a family on a budget, this classic dish turned simple ingredients into a beloved mealtime staple. At its heart, tuna noodle casserole was uncomplicated. Tender egg noodles, canned tuna, and a creamy sauce, often made with condensed soup, all baked under a crispy topping of breadcrumbs or crushed potato chips. While casseroles have long been a part of American cooking, tuna noodle casserole truly came into its own in the mid-20th century, as canned foods and convenience products found their way into pantries across the country. Southern grandmas, in particular, embraced the dish for its ease of preparation and its ability to stretch a can of tuna into a hearty meal. With the rise of electric ovens and the popularity of one-dish dinners, tuna noodle casserole became a regular feature on dinner tables from coast to coast. The dish's charm lies in its adaptability. Some families added peas or celery for extra crunch, while others sprinkled cheese on top before baking. Today, you might find updated versions with fresh vegetables or gluten-free noodles, but the soul of tuna noodle casserole remains unchanged. A comforting, creamy, and nostalgic bite of home. Sausage and egg breakfast casserole. In the bustling kitchens of the 70s, breakfast for dinner or a hearty brunch was a beloved tradition, and sausage and egg breakfast casserole was a standout favorite. Layers of crumbled sausage, beaten eggs, and bread or hash browns created a filling base, often topped with a generous sprinkle of cheese. Southern grandmas knew the value of a good breakfast casserole, especially when feeding a crowd or using up leftovers. The recipe's flexibility meant that almost anything in the fridge could find its way in. Leftover biscuits, bits of ham, or extra vegetables. As baking became a regular part of home life, thanks to reliable ovens and the growing popularity of convenience foods, this casserole became a staple at family gatherings and church potlucks. Green bean casserole. Few dishes are as iconic to American holiday tables as green bean casserole, and its popularity soared in the 70s. This comforting side dish combined tender green beans with a creamy mushroom sauce, all crowned with a golden layer of crispy fried onions. The invention of green bean casserole is often credited to a home economist working for the Campbell Soup Company in the 1950s. But it was the 70s that saw the dish become a nationwide sensation. As more families embraced the ease of canned ingredients, green bean casserole became a must-have at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Sunday dinners alike. The classic version, with its creamy, savory goodness and crispy topping, remains a beloved symbol of home-cooked comfort and family togetherness. Broccoli cheese rice casserole. When families sought hearty, wholesome meals that could feed a crowd without breaking the bank, broccoli cheese rice casserole was a go-to solution. This dish brought together tender broccoli florets, fluffy rice, and a rich, cheesy sauce, often made with condensed soup for extra creaminess. Topped with buttery breadcrumbs or extra cheese, it baked up into a golden, bubbling delight. Southern grandmas appreciated this casserole for its versatility and its ability to make even the pickiest eaters enjoy their vegetables. The heart of broccoli cheese rice casserole remains the same, a warm, cheesy, and satisfying dish that brings back memories of family meals and the simple joys of home cooking. Watergate salad. Scandals and desserts don't usually go hand in hand, but in the 1970s, one particular dessert proved otherwise. Watergate salad, a pistachio pudding-infused dessert layered with whipped topping and coconut, became a culinary icon of the decade, not just for its light, nutty flavor, but for the mystery surrounding its name. The origins of the dessert are as murky as the scandal it's tied to. While some believe it was named after the Watergate hearings that dominated headlines in the early 70s, others suggest it was a marketing ploy by General Foods, the company behind instant pistachio pudding. Culturally, boxed cake mix, pudding powder, and whipped topping were the backbone of convenience cooking. Today, variations of the dessert swap out artificial ingredients for real pistachios and homemade whipped topping, but the essence remains the same. It's a dessert with a name that raised eyebrows and a flavor that kept people coming back for more. Cornbread Casserole. In the heart of Southern kitchens, cornbread casserole was a staple. This casserole often featured a base of creamy corn, sometimes with cheese or peppers, topped with a sweet and savory cornbread batter. Grandmas knew that cornbread casserole was more than just a side. It was a way to make a meal feel special. This dish became a symbol of warmth and togetherness. The essence of cornbread casserole remains, a humble, hearty dish that reminds us of the simple pleasures of family and home. Chicken and rice casserole. Few dishes were as reliable in the 70s as chicken and rice casserole. This comforting classic combined tender chicken, fluffy rice, and a creamy sauce, often made with canned soup, all baked together until bubbly and golden. Southern grandmas cherished this casserole for its versatility. But the soul of the dish is unchanged, a warm, satisfying meal that brings back memories of family dinners and the comforting embrace of home. Hash brown casserole. Hash brown casserole became a breakfast and brunch favorite. This dish combined shredded potatoes with a rich, cheesy sauce, often made with condensed soup and a crunchy topping of cornflakes or breadcrumbs. Southern grandmas loved hash brown casserole for its ability to feed a crowd and its simple preparation. The heart of hash brown casserole remains, a warm, cheesy, and nostalgic dish that brings people together. Crown jewel dessert. Few desserts from the 1970s could match the sheer visual spectacle of the crown jewel dessert. Vibrant cubes of gelatin suspended in a creamy, airy mixture created a dish that looked as extravagant as it sounded. But behind its dazzling appearance was a dessert born from convenience, creativity, and the decade's undeniable love of gelatin. Gelatin-based dishes had been a fixture in American cookbooks for decades, but by the mid-20th century, they had evolved from simple fruit molds into elaborate, almost sculptural creations. Crown jewel dessert, also called broken glass cake, was a natural extension of this trend, with its bright jewel-toned cubes carefully arranged in a fluffy, citrus-infused base. Modern versions lean toward natural colorings and homemade fruit chalets, but the original's playful spirit remains intact. Culturally, it reflected the era's enthusiasm for processed ingredients. It was a dessert that looked impressive, but required little skill. Some variations used different fruit flavors for contrast, while others swapped whipped topping for a mixture of cream cheese and condensed milk for extra richness. Potato chip casserole was a true child of the 1970s, a dish that celebrated both creativity and convenience. This quirky favorite layered ground beef, creamy soup, and, of course, crushed potato chips for a crunchy, salty topping. It was a meal that kids loved and adults appreciated for its ease and affordability. It was a dish that could be thrown together in minutes, baked until bubbly, and served with a smile. As families embraced the convenience of packaged foods, this casserole became a regular feature on weeknight dinner tables. Cheesy Hamburger casserole was a 1970s favorite that turned ordinary ingredients into something extraordinary. This dish combined ground beef, pasta, and a creamy, cheesy sauce, often made with canned soup, all baked together until golden and bubbly. It was a meal that could feed a family, stretch a budget, and still leave everyone satisfied. Southern grandmas loved this casserole for its simplicity and its crowd-pleasing flavors. It was a dish that could be adapted with whatever was on hand. While some modern recipes might use whole wheat pasta or fresh tomatoes, the heart of cheesy hamburger casserole remains. A warm, comforting meal that brings back memories of family, togetherness, and the simple pleasures of home. Cheese souffle loaf. In the bustling kitchens of the 70s, the cheese souffle loaf was a clever and comforting twist on classic soufflés. While traditional soufflés were known for their delicate rise and dramatic presentation, this loaf version was all about making life easier without sacrificing flavor. Layers of buttered bread, sharp cheddar, and a creamy egg mixture baked up into a golden, puffy casserole that was both impressive and approachable. Southern grandmas loved this dish for its simplicity, where its cheesy, light texture and rich flavor made it a favorite. The recipe's secret lay in letting the bread soak up the custard overnight, ensuring every bite was moist and flavorful. Some families added a sprinkle of Parmesan or a dash of mustard for extra zing. Today, you might find modern takes with different cheeses or herbs, but the soul of the cheese souffle loaf remains unchanged, a reminder of the ingenuity and love that went into every family meal. Time of culinary adventure, and Hawaiian Meatloaf was a perfect example of how American home cooks embraced new flavors. This casserole-style meatloaf combined ground beef with diced pineapple, green peppers, and a sweet and savory glaze, all baked until bubbly and golden. The result was a dish that was both familiar and exciting, with a tropical twist that made it stand out on the dinner table. Southern grandmas appreciated Hawaiian meatloaf for its ability to please both kids and adults, and for the way it brightened up a weeknight meal. It was a dish that could be prepared ahead, baked to perfection, and served with a side of rice or mashed potatoes for a complete dinner. As families became more adventurous with their tastes, Hawaiian meatloaf became a symbol of the era's culinary spirit, bold, fun, and always satisfying. While some modern recipes might use turkey or add extra veggies, the essence of Hawaiian meatloaf is still the same. A sweet, savory, and nostalgic reminder of family dinners and the joy of trying something new. Bologna Cups. Bologna Cups were a true child of the 70s, a playful and practical dish that turned ordinary ingredients into something special. This casserole featured slices of bologna pressed into muffin tins, filled with a savory mixture of eggs, cheese, and sometimes breadcrumbs or vegetables, then baked until golden and set. It was a meal that kids loved and adults appreciated for its creativity and ease. Southern moms and grandmas knew how to make the most of what was in the fridge, and bologna cups were a perfect example. Fried bologna was already a Southern tradition, but shaping it into crispy golden cups took it to another level, offering both texture and versatility. Some variations used scrambled eggs for a breakfast twist, while others turned them into bite-sized appetizers topped with cheese or a dollop of mustard. Modern adaptations have seen Bologna Cups reimagined with gourmet fillings, but their original charm remains proof that sometimes the best ideas come from making the most of what's already in the fridge. Church supper, hot dish, was a cornerstone of community life, especially in southern towns, where potlucks and fellowship dinners were a way of life. This hearty casserole typically featured ground beef, canned vegetables, and a creamy soup base, all topped with a crispy layer of tater tots or breadcrumbs. It was a recipe that could be adapted with whatever was on hand. Extra veggies, different meats, or even a sprinkle of cheese. As church suppers and family gatherings became a regular part of life, this hot dish became a symbol of warmth, generosity, and the simple pleasures of home. Grape jelly meatballs, or cocktail meters. In the lively kitchens and party scenes of the 70s, few appetizers were as iconic or as delightfully surprising as grape jelly meatballs. This dish was a true product of its time, blending convenience, creativity, and just the right touch of sweetness. At its heart, the recipe was simple. Bite-sized meatballs, or cocktail winers, simmered in a sticky sweet sauce made from grape jelly and chili sauce. The result was a crowd-pleasing treat that disappeared almost as quickly as it was served. The origins of grape jelly meatballs are a bit mysterious, but their popularity soared in the 60s and 70s, appearing in block parties and family gatherings across the country. Hostesses everywhere appreciated how easy it was to throw together a batch, especially with the rise of slow cookers and frozen meatballs. The recipe was endlessly adaptable. Sometimes cocktail wieners stood in for the meatballs, but the spirit of the dish remained the same. A fun, finger-friendly appetizer that brought people together. As the decades passed, grape jelly meatballs became a beloved tradition, especially around the holidays. They were a staple at potlucks, where guests would marvel at the unexpected combination of flavors. The sauce, sweet, tangy, and just a little spicy, was the perfect foil for the savory meat, and the dish's simplicity made it a favorite for busy moms and grandmas alike. Today you might find modern twists, like cranberry sauce instead of grape jelly. King Ranch Chicken Casserole. In the heart of southern kitchens, King Ranch Chicken Casserole reigned as a true comfort food classic. This beloved dish layered tender chicken, corn tortillas, and a creamy, cheesy sauce, often made with canned soups, tomatoes, and peppers, into a bubbling golden delight. Southern wives cherished King Ranch Chicken Casserole for its versatility and its ability to turn simple ingredients into something extraordinary. The recipe's roots are a bit of a mystery. Some say it was inspired by the famous King Ranch of Texas, while others credit home cooks for its invention. Regardless of its origins, by the 70s, it had become a staple at potlucks, church suppers, and family gatherings across the South. Today, you might find modern versions with fresh vegetables or homemade sauces. Cheesy Squash Casserole. This comforting classic combined tender yellow squash, onions, and a creamy cheesy sauce, often made with cheddar and a touch of cracker crumbs, all baked until golden and bubbly. It was a dish that could turn even the most humble vegetables into something special. Southern cooks loved cheesy squash casserole for its simplicity and its ability to make the most of summer's bounty. Cherry Delight. While not a traditional casserole, Cherry Delight was a beloved casserole-like dessert that graced southern tables throughout the 70s. This no-bake treat layered a buttery crust, a creamy filling, and a topping of cherry pie filling into a dish that was as easy to make as it was delicious to eat. It was a dessert that could be whipped up in minutes, chilled until set, and served to the delight of kids and adults alike. As convenience foods became more popular, Cherry Delight became a symbol of the era's culinary spirit. Chicken Spaghetti Casserole was a 70s favorite that combined the best of Southern comfort food with the convenience of one-dish meals. This hearty dish layered tender chicken, spaghetti noodles, and a creamy cheesy sauce, often made with canned soup and plenty of cheddar, into a bubbling golden casserole that was both satisfying and easy to make. It was a dish that could be adapted with whatever was on hand. extra vegetables, different cheeses, or even a sprinkle of herbs. And there you have it. 21 casseroles that take us right back to the heart of the 1970s and the kitchens where our southern grandmas worked their magic. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Nostalgia Calling for more trips to the past, stories from the kitchen, and recipes that deserve a comeback. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, keep the memories cooking.